We're now going to talk about teens and alcohol. I'm Tim Hart. We've got Tom Deck with us. Tom is the program director and clinical supervisor at STARS with the Community Health Center of Branch County. We're also going to talk to Laura Kopaz. She is an RN and a sexual assault nurse examiner at the Community Health Center of Branch County. But, you know, Tom, obviously, as parents of teenagers, which I am, we're always concerned about what are the kids doing when they're not around us. And really, teenage drinking is a problem out there. How big a problem?
It's interesting, Tim, because we've got some statistics that kind of show us how things trend out as kids grow up and get a little bit older. For example, if we're talking about 8th grade students, 41% of 8th grade students report that they've tried alcohol at least once. 20% report that they've been drunk at least once in their lifetime. 11% report that they've binge drink. That means for younger people, we consider binging 3 drinks or more in a 2-hour period. And they report that 18% of all of their friends drink as well. When we go to 10th grade, those numbers jump, obviously. 63% of 10th graders report drinking at least once. 42% report that they've been drunk at least once in their lifetime. 21% report binge drinking, and 44% report that all of their friends drink. When we get to the senior year, it really goes up. 75% of seniors report drinking at least once, 58% having been drunk. The binge drinking is a concern, particularly with regard to the females, because we notice a lot more effect on females from alcohol than we do on males. 22% of female seniors report binge drinking as compared to 33% males. But although there are more males that report binge drinking, it has a greater effect on females because of the way the alcohol affects them. When we're talking Branch County, the numbers are pretty much across the board. Branch County residents report pretty much the same thing. When you take a look at our region as an area compared to other regions of the state, we're the 3rd highest region in the state when it comes to alcohol-related deaths by population, binge drinking by kids 12 and under, and drinking by young people 12 to 20. We're higher than Detroit, and for whatever reason, rural areas tend to report much higher numbers than urban ones.
Do you think it's because there's either not enough to do or availability, that sort of thing?
Well, I do an awful lot of assessments, and when kids are picked up for minor in possession charges and work with the court and they get sent to us for evaluations, we ask those kinds of questions. And I would say the majority of kids that report drinking are those kids that report not having enough things to do.
Well, and there's a lot of kids that are involved in sports and other activities and that sort of thing that do stay busy, but yet still kind of touch on the teenage drinking. What are some of the dangers?
Well, most people don't understand, or most people don't take a look at alcohol as it is what it is, and it's the most abused drug on the planet. Okay, so you're going to talk about a chemical that is easily acquired, that is for virtue of a piece of paper with the right number on it, attainable by practically anybody. Kids don't have any trouble getting alcohol.
No, they can ask somebody on the street, and you know what, that person generally is like, oh yeah, sure, okay.
Absolutely, it's the easiest drug for them to acquire. But when we're talking about some of the problems that are a result from that, there are 600,000 teen-on-teen assaults reported on a yearly basis from kids who are under the influence of alcohol. I know Laura's going to touch on this a little bit later, but there are 97,000 reported cases of sexual assault or date rape yearly against young women. In Branch County, 23% of teens report that either they or their friends do things when they're drinking that get them in trouble with the law. So it's a significant problem.
Let's talk about prom and graduation. That's coming up. What are some of the things that parents need to be concerned about or be thinking about?
Number one, talk to your kids. Talk to your kids. 57% of kids report that their parents said either something to them about alcohol once or not at all over a year period. That's pretty low. Know where your kids are, know who they're with, know whether or not there's any adult supervision going to be there. 58% of the kids that we talk to report that they do most of their drinking at their friends' homes. So a lot of the alcohol is coming right out of the icebox when mom or dad aren't looking. Set a good example for your kid. Be a role model. You are still the #1 influence in that teenager's life, despite the fact that there's a lot of peer influence out there. And probably most important, and I see this and it really disturbs me, don't give in to kids who want you to enable them to drink. Don't be the parent who volunteers to sponsor the party because you think you're going to keep your kids safe and keep them at home. First of all, that's not setting a good example. That's setting the bar really low. It's really setting a bad precedent for kids. And most importantly, and parents need to realize this, it's against the law.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you hear about the parents that do get in trouble because kids were drinking, they were, then they left the house.
Absolutely.
But I had their keys and I had this and that.
Exactly.
But that doesn't necessarily always hold true, and especially graduation time where kids are like, come on, I'm graduating, can't we just have some beer? And
exactly.
I know you got some beer for the parents, and then the next thing you know, there's the kids drinking.
Exactly. It's just not a good precedent to start. It's not a good situation to put yourself into. As a parent, it's something you need to avoid.
And if I wanted to get more information on teenage drinking? You
can certainly call our program. You can get a hold of Kim Palchuk, who is our County Prevention Coordinator at STARS, 279-5337.
All right, Tom, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Tim, very much.
All right, Tom Deck has been with us. He is the Program Director and Clinical Supervisor for STARS at the Community Health Center, Branch County. We've got more coming up. Stay with us.